You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another monthly movie recap. This one actually is monthly. Look at that. I did it, boys. Woohoo! Anyway, to start off with today, we got Hell Comes to Frogtown, which is a movie that sounds fucking awesome until you actually watch it. Because it's a movie starring Roddy Piper in a post-apocalyptic world with frog mutants. And his mission is to repopulate fertile women and infiltrate this frog mutant place and rescue fertile women from these frogs. That sounds fucking awesome! In execution, it's a lot of girl boss bullshit. Where they put this chastity belt thing on Roddy Piper that's supposedly going to make his junk explode if he doesn't fulfill what he's supposed to do, or if he gets too far away from the bitches that are put in charge of him. And they don't give him, hardly any badass moments, because he's playing this, fucking, badass fucking ladies' man who goes from town to town fucking bitches, and he's fertile, and fertility is, really rare in this apocalyptic world. And again, it's at the start, I'm like, this seems like it's going to be cool. But by the end, I was rooting for the frogs. Which, to make me not want to root for Roddy Piper is a tough thing to do, because he was so great in They Live, and he was an awesome wrestler. But I have heard the contention is that They Live was basically the only, really good movie he did. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping to find some hidden gems, because he did a lot. But the coolest thing in this movie was the effects on the frogs. And, the imagery was pretty cool in some aspects. And there was a couple of moments I liked, and some of the characters were cool. There was this one frog guy who was a piece of shit that was great. I loved him. So, yeah, it definitely was a disappointing movie, to say the least. I went in with high hopes, thinking Roddy Piper, post-apocalypse, frog mutants, knocking up bitches like it's Duke Nukem Land of the Babes. That sounds awesome. No. It was not. Unfortunately, it was not. So, it was fine. I didn't hate it. I don't regret watching it. It was decent enough, but it definitely was disappointing from what the premise would make you expect. Next up, we have easily the worst movie on this list, and that's War of the Worlds 2025. This movie is basically Ice Cube sitting in an office on a Zoom call for an entire movie. And that is the movie. I don't remember much of the plot, because I got so fucking bored watching it at my friend's house, because my friend really wanted to watch it, because he thought it'd be, so bad it's good. No, it wasn't. It was just dull. We sat down, and we would just, we were watching it, and, maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes into the movie, if I'm being charitable. It's probably more like 10 or 15, though. We decided we were going to play a board game while the movie just ran in the background, because he really wanted to finish it, but neither of us were invested in it. And from what little I remember of the plot, he was a government, hacker, code expert guy. And his son, spoiler, I predicted this, by the way, immediately. His son is, this secret hacker that's, anonymous, right? He's going in, he's breaking all their codes and shit, and he's this menace that his dad's trying to stop, right? This, cyber terrorist. And, pretty early on, when I was still kind of sort of paying attention, but not really, I said, it's gonna be his son, isn't it? And it was the most predictable shit ever. And what little alien shit you see is bad CGI on a shitty webcam, like this, right? I'm on a shitty webcam. But no, it sucked. I hated that movie. It was so fucking boring. I regret seeing it, and I think I watched it 2 recaps worth ago, at least a recap's worth ago, and I just forgot to mention it, because it was so boring and forgettable, I completely fucking forgot to talk about it. It's not good. Basically, it's just a Zoom call. Like I said, that's the whole fucking movie. Next up, we have Marked for Death, which also sucked. So going into this, I expected it to be at least decent. There were elements I liked. There was a couple of moments that were kind of cool, especially towards the end in, the last, 10 minutes. There was some cool stuff with that. But I'm gonna be honest, I just cannot take Steven Seagal seriously as a badass. This motherfucker was supposedly, one of the top action stars of the day? Like, what the hell? Like, this is a movie considered in his prime. This is considered, like, one of the best Steven Seagal movies. And he just seems like a smug asshole the whole time, and not even in a likable way. Like, every time he does a one-liner, he just comes off as a condescending faggot. Like, I can't stand him. He's so unbearable. Like, I was rooting for the Haitian, like, voodoo people over him, because that was, like, the premise of the movie. And, it got to a point I kept tuning in and out of the plot. Like, they had some cool imagery at a few moments. Again, like, the last 10 minutes had a cool fight scene. But that was it. I really don't like Steven Seagal. And I thought, you know, maybe in his prime I would. Because I do like some action movies, for sure. Like, I love me some, like, old Sylvester Stallone or Schwarzenegger, right? But watching this, I'm like, how the fuck did anyone ever take Steven Seagal seriously? Man, this guy sucks. Like, he's always just doing, like, that, like... He just comes off as a douchebag who thinks he's a badass. Which is how he actually is in real life. So, you know, he's just playing what he knows, right? I don't know. I didn't like it. I know a lot of people liked it back in the day. I know Steven likes it. I know Kino liked it as well, but, you know, more ironically, because he said he thought it was kind of funny with Steven Seagal thinking he was a badass. And there was a bit of that where it was kind of funny, but I think the novelty kind of quickly wore off for me, where I was just done with it. Like, Marked for Death sucked. I hated that movie. Next up, we have White Zombie. So, we're starting to get better. So far, all of these movies have been, like, not the greatest, right? White Zombie's still not the greatest, but it is, like, the first, like, zombie movie, or at least one of them. But it's very different than a traditional zombie movie, which I knew it would be. Because, you know, it's like voodoo stuff, and it's more of like a zombie mind slave rather than like a rotting corpse sort of thing. It's Bela Lugosi playing this guy who is basically just Dracula, but not. And he's, like, mind-controlling this woman. And that's the whole premise of the movie. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything to write home about either. I didn't hate it, but it didn't, like, amuse me too much. Like, it wasn't super, like, gripping. It had cool imagery. The plot wasn't bad. Like I said, it's not a bad movie. But it certainly isn't one that I would go back to time and time again. The thing I liked the most was the aesthetic and the set design. And the fact that Bela Lugosi was basically just playing Dracula again, but not. Like, that was really the main draw. There were cool moments. I liked the guy with the pipe, and I do like that the movie literally ends with him saying, "You got a match?" to light his pipe again. That was cool. I liked this movie more than all of the ones previously mentioned on this list. And again, it wasn't bad, but it was kind of dull. So, it wasn't bad. It was a very middle-of-the-road movie for me. Alright, next up we have Twilight Zone the movie. Now, this movie's great because, like, you know, it's the Twilight Zone, right? The opening, with Dan Aykroyd and, like, you know, the wraparound sort of segment, that was really good. Then they start off with the two weakest segments. Now, not in order. The second one is the worst. So the first segment is this guy who is very upset that other people are getting promotions instead of him, and he racializes it, right? Which is kind of understandable given the circumstances. And I don't really think this guy did anything all too wrong. He was just very charged and pissed off at the moment. And in today's day and age, it's very topical, right? But the thing is, the movie's like, okay, now he's gonna get, like, karmically punished for this. So he, like, walks back in time, and he gets, like, persecuted by the Nazis. And then he gets, like, taking, like, shots at him in, like, Vietnam and stuff. And, like, just dealing with all this shit. And the guy, I think if I remember right, the character himself was, like, a Vietnam veteran or something. Also, 3 people died in the making of this movie during the production of that segment. A man and 2 children. So that's pretty crazy. But that segment wasn't, like, terrible. I just didn't like the messaging of it, because it's like, this guy did not deserve to get punished in the way that he did. It was kind of bullshit, to be perfectly honest. Like, the man just had some fucking grievances. Holy hell. But it's still a decent enough segment. Like, it's still got, you know, it's got a good plot progression. It's got interesting characters. And the violence and imagery is cool. The time travel aspect is also really cool. It's also very, very loosely based on a Twilight Zone segment. The one that it's based on has nothing to do with that. It's about a guy going back in time to Abraham Lincoln's assassination. Has nothing to do with actually what's in the movie. The second segment is fucking terrible, and when I rewatch the movie, I will be skipping it. So it's called Kick the Can, and it's about a bunch of old people who play Kick the Can because it magically makes them young. And then the message is, actually, they're supposed to like being old. So no, they shouldn't do that. No. And only one of them actually stays young after kicking the can. It was really boring. There was nothing horror about it. And it was only, like, people getting de-aged. Goosebumps did this plot better. I mean, granted, to Goosebumps it was in reverse, but whatever. Point is, that segment sucked, and I hated it. The third and fourth segments, however, awesome. Fucking great. So, there's the one with the kid, where, I forget what it's called, but it's that kid who has, like, the powers, and is, like, holding his family, like, hostage, because if they disappoint him, or if they upset him, he'll, like, get rid of them. Like, yeah, like, they did a Simpsons parody of this one as well, you know, in Treehouse of Horror 2, I think. With, you know, Bart's Nightmare. And where Bart gets all the crazy powers. And this is also, you know, there's a Twilight Zone episode segment of this, and then there's a sequel of it in this later Twilight Zone series as well. This one's really good. This kid with the powers, and, like, the way that he's, like, keeping his family, like, psychologically terrorized because they're worried he'll, like, wipe away their mouth from existence or teleport them to hell. It's great. Love it. Great segment. And then the final segment is Terror at 20,000 Feet, which is also just a great original Twilight Zone segment, although I do like the way the gremlin looks in this better. The original segment had William Shatner in it. But this one, it's, if you don't know, it's the one about the guy on the plane who sees a gremlin on the wing. It's pretty fucking great. It's an iconic Twilight Zone segment, and this movie version's also just great. And at the end of that storyline, there's an ambulance being driven by Dan Aykroyd that's also a callback to the wraparound at the beginning. And that's how it ends. So, overall, Twilight Zone, the movie, was great. I think the second segment should have been just completely cut, and the first segment is definitely weaker than the third and fourth. But the second one's just real bad. Just cut that out of the fucking movie. It's a better movie overall if you do, honestly. Alright, next up we have It, The Terror from Beyond the Stars. Now, this is a movie that essentially is the original Alien. Like, it's not literally the original Alien, but you can't tell me that Alien wasn't heavily inspired by this movie. It's a ship coming back to Earth with an alien creature on it that killed the crew. And this prisoner guy, like, he wasn't a prisoner originally, he was part of the original crew that went there. But the rest of the original crew got wiped out. And so there's a rescue crew that's sent to take him and take him in to charge him for the murder of the original crew. And then there's this alien creature aboard the ship. And there's, like, some iconic scenes with them in the vents. They build this really cool grenade trap at one point in it. It's very much like Alien with the claustrophobia and the being stuck in space with this monster aboard the ship. It's just overall a great movie. I quite enjoyed it. And then to end off with tonight, we have the movie that I just finished watching. And that is The Haunted Palace, also known as Edgar Allan Poe's The Haunted Palace, which it technically has nothing to do with the Edgar Allan Poe The Haunted Palace poem. That's just how they got the title. It's actually a movie adaptation of The Case of Charles Dexter Ward by H.P. Lovecraft. Now, it has been a while since I've read the story. So, Wikipedia says it's loosely based on it, and I definitely remember more, like, actual, like, necromancy and resurrection in it. But it had a lot of plot beats that I remembered as I was seeing them. So I think that it was a really good adaptation in that regard. It had Vincent Price in it, and Lon Chaney Jr., the son of the original Lon Chaney, obviously. And it's essentially about this guy named Charles Dexter Ward, who goes to this town to inherit a house that belonged to his great-great-grandfather, Joseph Curwen. And Joseph Curwen ends up possessing Charles Dexter Ward and trying to do this ritual to let the old ones, you know, like, the two that are name-dropped are Cthulhu and Yog-Sothoth, to bring them into our world. And it's a great movie. Vincent Price is awesome in this. He's also getting revenge on the people who burned him to death, because Joseph Kerwin was burnt to death by an angry mob in the town originally. And there's a scene where he just throws kerosene on a guy and lights it on fire, which is fucking awesome. Loved this movie. This was a great movie. It's one of my favorite Lovecraft movies of all time now that I've seen it. And I definitely will be watching that one again and also buying it. It was on Tubi, because Tubi has so much great shit. Like, a lot of this shit was on Tubi, to be honest. In fact, I think the only two things that weren't on Tubi in this video were three. Marked for Death was not on Tubi, War of the Worlds 2025 was not on Tubi, and It, the Terror from Beyond the Stars was not on Tubi. But everything else in this monthly movie recap was on Tubi. Yeah, I loved this adaptation. The aesthetic, the set work, like, they had this constant fog in the movie that looked great. Charles Dexter Ward, Joseph Kerwin, great character. Loved this movie. Highly, highly recommended. One of my favorite Vincent Price. It might be my favorite Vincent Price movie. I mean, it's tough because there's also The Last Man on Earth. But I think I might like this one better. This is definitely, probably one of my favorite Lovecraft movies, if not my favorite. Like, again, I liked the Nicolas Cage Color Out of Space a lot. But this one had a vibe to it that I really liked, aesthetically. But yeah, I think that's really all I have to talk about with this month's monthly movie recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Fugitive Red Eye. Have a good one. Toodles!
You take forever to say nothing.
Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.
I'm gonna fucking die here, Jack!
What about your